When Jesus started his ministry in Luke 4:18, he walks into the temple, he unrolls a scroll, and he really kicks off everything he's about to do with these words. He says, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me because he has anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim release to the captives and recovery of sight to the blind, to set free those who are oppressed." So throughout the ministry of Jesus, he's constantly showing us what the kingdom of God is like by looking at somebody who's blind and healing them, finding somebody who has demonic oppression and casting that out, finding somebody who is in bondage to their sin or in bondage to guilt or in bondage to their greed, and calling them out of that and really giving them an offer of a new way of life. And so when we talk about this term, reversing oppression through sacrificial love, we take that from Jesus because that was really the way that he entered into people's space. The word reverse, what it really means is to make the opposite of what something is. So if you see light, the reverse of that would be dark. If you see blindness, the reverse of that would be sight. And so we seek to follow the ways of Jesus by actually seeing what is oppressing those around us. And this can be something as in our face as somebody who's blind or demonically oppressed, or as something as small as a neighbor who's going through a divorce, or a neighbor who has no purpose to their life, or someone that we encounter in the grocery store or at our job who's just suffering from depression or anxiety or purposelessness. All of these things are things that bind up men and women and really make us not full humans. And Jesus, the mission of Jesus, and our mission as well, was to come see that which oppressed humans and give them the opposite of it. And oftentimes this reversing oppression through sacrificial love, it requires sacrifice. It requires us to love them in a way that actually costs us something. Jesus modeled love, and it looked like him on the cross. Love always bleeds. And when we will look at the world around us and see that we are actually sent as messengers to reverse the oppression around us through sacrificial love, we will find that people will begin to wake up to something they've never experienced before. They'll begin to wake up to the love of God. And many times in my life, when I've sought to evangelize or to tell people about Jesus, that process has almost always started through some form of act where I can get into their world, I can take something that's bothering them, something that's oppressing them, and through some sacrifice of my own, I can reverse it, I can turn it around. That process is it's like the electric shock paddles on a dead person, where you rub them together and you shock them and they experience something they've never experienced or they haven't experienced much of, which is love, which, 1 John tells us God is love. So when we're giving sacrificial love away, we're actually giving them a taste of who God is, which often elicits questions of why are you like this? Or why are you acting like this? Or why would you do that for me? Which opens wonderful doors to talk about the love of God that's changed us. And really that's what discipleship is all about. Being changed by the love of God, seeing ways that we can reverse the oppressions of others through that love, and then leading them into transformative relationship with Jesus.